to the channel and welcome to this long-term update on the CrossClimate2 tires that we reviewed back in May of 2021. So we have over 18 months of history on running the CrossClimate2 tires on my wife's minivan. And we're going to talk about the experience, where it's sitting in terms of tread life, and those thoughts on having a set of tires now for roughly 2 years.
Yeah, Bruce, that was a great episode for us. It was fun to do. It was a very popular episode, our CrossClimate2 tire review for your wife's van. Link down below. Go check it out if you haven't already. Not right now, after this video is over. But yeah, I am very curious how that tire is holding up. You've got about 30,000 miles on it now. Yeah, I'm just curious your thoughts. Has the performance degraded noticeably over time? Sometimes it's hard to notice such things. And I recognize this is not really your daily driver. It's more of your wife's daily driver. So yeah, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Keith. So let's dive into all those questions that you asked me, and some of the implications there. So as you said, this is not my daily driver; it's my wife's. So let's jump right into tread life and where we're at. So I'll put the number of miles that have been put on the van since we put the tires on, and right now I'm going to just go ahead and jump right to the tread that is remaining. So all 4 tires, so all the way around, using the tire meter that I'm showing here, and there's a short that we'll have linked in here. If it's not linked yet when you watch this video, it will be, because it's something we haven't produced yet. But all the way around, it is at 8:30 seconds, which I know what you're going to do. You're already converting that to a smaller fraction. Well, for whatever reason, tires are always measured in 30 seconds, regardless of whether it can be broken down to a smaller fraction. So whether that's good or bad, I'm not sure. If you've already watched our Taurus Primacy, MXM4 versus CrossClimate2 review, then you'll know that my Taurus on the front wheels are at 8:30 seconds, on the rears they're at 9:30 seconds, with significantly fewer miles. And I can tell you that that's probably almost 100% attributable to driving habits, right? Specifically, my driving habits versus my wife's. Now, I'm not saying that my wife drives like a little old lady, but she kind of drives like a little old lady, right? No offense to little old ladies, especially if you're one with a lead foot. My wife is a stereotypical old lady with the way she drives, although she is not old by any means. So she is going to probably get a lot better tread life out of her tires, and I expect this, than I will. So from that standpoint, I would say tread life, we're running in pretty good shape, I believe, based on the number of miles. Again, the expected life of these, or the warranted life, is 60,000. I don't know that everyone gets that. My wife has a shot at it, I think. I think she really does have a shot at that 60,000 mile metric out of her tires. From a performance perspective, you asked about that. Still do great in snow. Still do great on wet pavement. This is the car that if we have a long trip, we take. As a matter of fact, we were out for Anna's graduation party in Illinois, right? We took the van. We ran into rain. We ran into some car trouble too. Luckily, nothing to do with the tires. So from that standpoint, I really haven't noticed a degradation at this point. We'll see. I know I usually start to notice in my my service shops usually starts to notice, I think, because it's time to buy new tires from them. But they usually start to tell me about my performance is degrading at the 4 to 5 30 seconds mark. So that's where we're at on all those. What other questions do you have for me, Keith? What's on your mind?
What am I thinking? I'm thinking that you just called your wife old. I know you qualified it, but that's what I was thinking. And actually, another thought that jumped into my head was about the aggressiveness of your driving versus Cindy's. And you sparked a memory. I have a friend of mine from work who actually is a professional race car driver, for real. And right after I got my Camaro, and this was back in 2012, it was a long time ago, or 2011, I don't know, whatever. And he actually took his finger and started tracing it along the outside of my tread near the sidewall. I'm like, what are you doing? As it turns out, he was judging me. He was trying to identify whether I was a real serious driver or how aggressively I was driving, and trying to remember how he stated it. But if you are a heavy on the gas pedal versus heavy on the brakes, you will actually introduce a bias in the wear in the circumferential direction on your tread blocks, right? So think of it like little shark fins, right? Where the back edge versus the front edge. And real race car drivers know how to be heavy on the brakes, not just on the acceleration pedal. So that was what he was trying to do, is to get a feel for how good of a driver I was from a performance perspective. I don't know if I buy this. If you viewers have a comment about that, whether that's full of crap or not, let me know, and I'll be sure to pass the crap along to my buddy. But as I think about that experience, and now I think about the CrossClimate 2s, even if that is a valid way to judge aggressiveness by tread wear pattern, I'm not buying it, because the CrossClimate 2 doesn't have big chunky tread blocks. They're very narrow on the sidewall, all across the width of the tire. So I don't know. I'm taking your word for it, Bruce, that Cindy is an old lady type of driver compared to you. I'm willing to believe that. But I don't think that we'll be able to find clinical evidence of that based on the shape of the tread pair pattern. Tread pair pattern? That's interesting. Tread wear pattern. But I think the measurements that you're taking with your gauge are going to be the ultimate arbiter of that.
So Keith, again, I did qualify. She's not an old lady by any means, but her driving characteristics are as old lady, I think, as they come. And another maybe aside way of measuring that is when we go and fill up, which we fill up at the same time because of our points. Fuel points. Those of you that live in an area where they have fuel points, you know what I'm talking about. So we fill up both cars to get one fill, but spread it across more than one car because we can do 35 gallons. Anyway, when she is done, because I fill her car up first, I let her go, then I fill up mine. I usually beat her home still, okay, after filling up my car after her. So that is some empirical evidence that I'm submitting along with the tread wear. Anyway. So, really, if I look at our experience with the tires thus far, it's been solid. I do credit my wife. So here I'm giving her kudos that her driving characteristics that she displays are really probably going to save us money in the long haul versus my bad, characteristics. I may get there faster, but I'm going to lose the tire changing. I'm going to be in the pit before her, right? So going back to your race car driver. But anyway, the tires have done extremely well. I'm probably just as pleased, if not more so, now from a long-term test perspective than I was in the relatively short term that we were sitting in when we did our first review.
Well said. Nice recovery. Stuck the landing. So please hit the subscribe button. We love subscribers. We love you, but we love you a little bit more if you subscribe. And hit the like button and hit the bell. Ring that bell thing too. Do all of that stuff, and you'll see us next time on the next episode of Dad's Talk Tech.